This week's Webdvar for Parshas Bo is sponsored by Lydia, Craig, and Norman Eckstein. That's upon the 15th yurtzeit of their beloved husband and father, Mr. Louis Eckstein. May his neshama have an aliyah and serve as a source of comfort and chizuk for his beloved wife and sons. In Parshas Bo, we see one of the most brilliant supernatural makos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings upon the Mitzrim. Not to say that all of the makos were brilliant and supernatural, but this is a Maca which is hard for us to fathom. And that is the Maca of Choshech, the Maca of Darkness. There was such heavy darkness over all of Mitzrayim that the Torah says people, Egyptians, weren't able to even get out of their beds. The darkness was so heavy. The miracle within the miracle was that the pasuk says, "L'chol b'nei Yisrael haya or b'moshvosam." For all of the Jewish people, there was or, there was light b'moshvosam in their dwellings. And a question can be asked on this pasuk that the Torah would have said enough if it said, "L'chol b'nei Yisrael haya or." To all of the Jewish people, there was light. That would have been sufficient. But there is an extra word there, b'moshvosam, in their dwellings. What does that word represent? The Torah never puts extra words in for no reason. So the question that could be asked is, why is this word b'moshvosam appear? Rabbi Yisrael Mirajin explains that on a deeper level the Torah is telling us something else. The Torah is saying to us, U'lechol b'nei Yisrael, to all of the Jewish people, every single Jew, hayaor, there is light. There is a certain sense, a certain spark of the divine, which is a certain spark of godliness, which is contained within us, b'moshvosam, within their dwellings, deep within them. And he explains this to mean that there are certain individuals who, when we look at those individuals, we say to ourselves, there is no way that there is anything positive that I could take away about this person. Someone who we may think so negatively about, and especially if we're in conflict with the individual, we may say to ourselves that there is nothing positive that I can see out of this person, out of this fellow Jew. So says Rabbi Yisrael Mirajin, now, there definitely is, but it's being covered. It's being covered by Moshvosam, by their dwellings, by all of the different things that this person is involved with. When you think negatively about someone, understand that there is still something positive within them, but you have to search for it. And he says, it's just like if a person had some jewels, some beautiful stones or rubies, and the person had these stones and they were thrown into the sand, so a person wouldn't even know that they were there because they would be covered by the sand. But if a person took them out and sifted through the sand and took out these stones, these rubies, and put them on the table next to their other fine jewels, then they would see their value, they would see what they're worth. But when they're in the sand, one can't see any value to them. He says the same is true when it comes to a person, to an individual who we may look at in a very negative fashion. It's almost impossible for us to see anything positive. But there is deep within there, or there is light within there in our fellow Jew. And naturally there are people who we think negatively about. And we can strive to not think negatively, but sometimes there's a good reason why we think negatively about a person. So says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says the Torah, even within the person who we think legitimately negatively about, there is light tucked away within them, and sometimes we can't see it, but we have to strive and challenge ourselves to really try to pursue it as best as we can. We should be zocheh in our lives to be able to look at people, even those who we look at in a very non-positive light, and try to find something positive that we can take away. Try to find some brightness that we can take away when thinking about them. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.